Hi guys, my name is Salami Abdullah, and I'll be your guide through this program. We'll be looking at web development as a whole, and we'll be looking at some of these various interesting specializations of the web development. But at start, we are going to be beginning with front-end web development and those requirements we need, the programming language we need, and everything we have to be familiar with so that we can actually benefit from this program. It will be very simple and straightforward. I'll try to break everything down so that we can actually comprehend. So meet me in the next slide.
To start with, we are to get ourselves familiar with, such as the concept of the internet and web development, together with the roadmap that we'll be following in this program. So here I have the concept of the internet, which just um, it says internet consists of global network of computers that communicate using internet protocol. That is when various computers communicate and share information among themselves. So we that's just the brief explanation of internet, and it uses border gateway protocol to identify the best path to route those communication. So what is the internet protocol itself? A communication protocol that enables networking a large range of computers to the internet by providing basic for packet switching, routing, addressing, and other essential functions for the net. So we are looking at internet. It comprises of everything that has to do with sharing of information and connecting various computers together. Like let's look at what we have in this picture here, where this person is actually accessing the internet, and on the internet we have these various services that are available together with this person on the other side. So they can actually share information among themselves without having any need to reach each other. So I've been saying internet protocol from the last slide. um, IP is just internet protocol. So the IP address is just the address that we have like this that enables this communication to be possible, just like 192.168, and that is the network ID. Then the host is 170 in this case. So now we access internet through a web page or a website. Now we have to always differentiate between a web page and a website. A website, as you should know, is just like the body, that is the collection of various web pages on the www, and they are typically accessible from the same base URL, which means these web pages will be accessible from the same URL. Let's say, for instance, you are on Amazon website, then subsequent web pages that you visit will also take the domain name and some part of the URL. Then maybe probably the last part of the URL is what will now connect you to various web pages on the website. Now like I said, website is just like the body containing all these web pages and linking them together. Then we look at web page, which is just a single text document transmitted as HTML on the World Wide Web, often linked to others and intended to be viewed with a web browser. So we view a website or a web page using a web browser. Then um, here we have the sample of a web page, which actually is a single page that show us what we actually need, maybe when trying to access an information on the internet. So this is a website, but this particular view that we are having here is a web page, a particular page that share information or have something that you actually need. Then the body, the whole body of this web page linked together is what we know as website. Now, to do any development or to create anything that has to do with website or web page, it is known as web development. So it is the work involved in developing a website for the internet, when you're actually working on something that could actually be viewed by the browser and various people could access it. That is web development. Then development have various roadmap and three specialization. That is just those that are specialized in the front end and back end. Then we have the full stack also, that's comprised of both the front end and the back end. So but in this program our main focus will be the front end, and we can work with anything that we have to do with front end web design, and maybe subsequently we will be looking at the back end. So the front end, what do you refer to as front end? Front end is the development that refer to client side, that is how a web page look. This is actually the view, what a user can actually see on the website. That's the front end. So depending on how your front end is attractive, then the more people you will be able to bring in to, yeah, and you interest them in at least going through your website, because the way people view it is the perspective they have about your website. Then when we look at the back end, we look at just the logic, or the server side, that is how a web page work. So this is where everything that has to do with the logic takes place, about maybe data storage and request and response. So that one is the back end. So front end code now that we're going to be looking at is used to create static websites, where the purpose is to display the web page. So we use front end code to create static websites, that is a website, a body of a website, and the purpose is to display the web page. However, if you want to make your website dynamic, that means to manage files, database, contact form, control user access, request and response, etc., then you need to learn a backend programming language like PHP or Python, and then use SQL to communicate with the databases. So front end code is just to create a static, that is what I can see, what you can see, what everybody can actually see. It's just a static web page, and a sample of that is the W3 School. When you visit the home page directly without logging in, actually you view the same thing as someone here or I or someone else will actually view also without logging in. So that is a static website, when what you view or what you can do is the same as what other people can do. But once it becomes dynamic, it's now sharing data between you personally. Maybe when you're logged in, there are some kind of stuff you will see, and when other person is logged in, there are some kind of stuff the person will see actually, such as maybe my learning progress if I have W3 School, and someone else that also have an account with them, we also have different learning progress, or some apps that required a subscription, maybe like pro version of the app. What they actually enjoy is actually different from what I will enjoy. So when it is dynamic, it means it changes with various user. Then we look at HTML, because HTML is one of those languages, or yeah, we just call it markup language, that we'll be using in writing everything and defining the structure of a web page. That is everything that you can actually see on the web page, just like the skeleton is written in HTML. And as we have here, we have the basic template of an HTML web page, which is the doc type, and we have the HTML together with the head. So inside the HTML is where we have the head and the body, which are nested in that. And in the head it's comprised of every information that has to do with the browser, the information the browser need. And in the body we have those things that we want the browser to actually display to the user. So here in the body I have an h1 and 2 paragraphs, where the h1 is just a big text, my new web page, and the paragraphs are just here hello world, and this is my first web page. So when we start with that, we will get more familiar with what these structures actually mean. Then we look at CSS. CSS is a cascading style sheet, which is used to set the layout of your web page with beautiful colors, font, and much more. So it is used to beautifying our web page, and make it look represented, make it look beautiful, and yeah, we could actually present this to people, and they will actually fall in love with our website just the way, just because of the way it's looked. So It is used to define the look and representation of a markup content. All these contents are what I have in the previous slide, that I just have my new web page and two paragraph text, but here I have used CSS to style it, and look at how it come out now. So CSS is used in, it's just like to the skin or a dress uses which is used to cover the skeleton, whereas the HTML is the skeleton. So the next we'll be looking at is the requirements that we actually need, and before we start with programming or coding all this stuff actually. So one of those requirements that we'll be needing is first we need a text editor. We can use a basic text editor that we have, or the one that come with a operating system such as Notepad. We have VS Code and a lot. So the one we will be using, or the one I specifically have a preference for, is the VS Code. So this is what the VS Code look like. You should try to install that on your operating machine, and you should start to write our code in the VS Code. It's just a text editor, and it's just different from basic text editor because we can actually write code, and it will increase the formatting and highlighting of all these things that will make our code more readable. Then the second is a browser, which we use in viewing our which is used in viewing the web page. You know, whenever you want to have access to the internet, we need a browser, and we can actually type what we want here, and it will just bring it out for us. So we need a browser also to view our website, and those are the basic two things that we need in this program. And to get started with, you should try to install a browser. We can actually use any browser such as Chrome. We can use another one, Microsoft Edge, and various browser. You can also use Phoenix. You can use various browsers as long as it can access the internet. So that's just it. And while building this, we also can work with it online, and we can work with it locally. But for the start, we are going to be working with them locally, which means what I'll be having in my address bar here will not be a URL actually, but it will be the location of the file on my operating system. So let's get started. I would just like to minimize what I have here, and to close this tab. Then to get started, we'll create a folder. Probably, we should try to always have our files organized. I create a folder, and I say this is nothing much, but this is just Web Code Institute. So I can just give my folder name Web Code, Web dash code. So I hit enter. Then in this folder, I want to access it in my VS Code because I actually want to write some codes now. So I right click on this, and I say open with code. So this should actually pop up the VS Code on my screen here, and I can start with that for now. So to start with, what do we need? This is the folder here. So on this part here, it says creating of new file. Then here it's creating of a new folder, and that's the basic things that we need. So I can just clear this, close this tab as it's a welcome tab. Then I have creating of a new file. Then to write an HTML code, the file name should end with .html as an extension, so that the browser will be able to read it as an HTML file. So here I can just say the name of my file should be index, then it will be .html. Then I hit enter. But before I hit enter, as you can see, this bracket is shown there. Let me delete some parts, and you can see it is gone, which means it's just a text document. Then HTML, putting it completely, this anchor bracket, which means this is an HTML document. So I hit enter. The file is created for me, and what I can actually do here again is let me increase this. To start with any HTML program, you first have to give the basic template, and that can be gotten by using the shift command and this apostrophe. Then you it will pop up an option for you, and in this option here we have the basic template for our HTML. So I hit enter. Then as you can see, I have my basic template here, which is just the description that I have in the last slide there, which is just saying the doc type the doc type, this is the document type, this declare the version of HTML that I'm using in my code. Then here I have the HTML, which is the body of my document. Actually, in this HTML I have the opening and closing HTML, and in it I have the head and the body tag. So basically this is the templates that I'll be using to write every of my HTML code. Then in the head, like I said, is the additional information that the browser actually need to render this web page. And here we have some sample UTF-8, which is the character set, and here also I have the viewport, which is set to be the width of my device and initial scale to be 1.0. That means it doesn't zoom out or in initially. Then here I have the title. The title is what will be displayed in the title bar in my web browser. So let's change this to be let's use it, and I save it. Not nothing in the body, which is actually what will be displayed in the web browser. So nothing is there. I don't have anything to worry about. But look at this title. We have the title to be document, which is what will be appearing at the title bar in my web browser. So after saving this file, I can come back down here and say, okay, this go inside the folder, and I have HTML file. Here you see that I double tap on this because I already have my default file HTML file to be opened using Chrome, but I can actually do that by right clicking on this and say open with. Then I have various options that I can use in reading this HTML file, such as Firefox, Google Chrome, Internet Explorer, Microsoft Edge, and a lot. So what I want to use here is Google Chrome, and it should pop up. You don't have anything to worry about. So as you can see, what I have here is my basic URL, my file location where this file is actually, and as you know, it's in my desktop. So from the desktop I created a folder, web code. Then the name of the file is the index.html. Yeah, nothing seems to appear here because I haven't actually written anything in my HTML. What I just have is the title that it says document here. So going back to my HTML here, I can just actually change this to say my first web page. So nothing much, I just write my first web page and I save the file and I go back to my browser, then I hit refresh. So nothing actually changes here except my title, which is now reading my first web page. To give anything in this body so that at least someone can actually view what I have on my screen, then that will be written in the body tag here. I can just write any text. My name is Salami Abdullah. So I save my file. Yes, you should always save your file, and I go back to my browser here and I hit refresh. Yeah, it displays there. My name is Salami Abdullah. But for every HTML, you should remember that for everything that you'll be writing, they should be in a tag. That means they should have an element which will always dictate the meaning of that particular text. So to start with, a sample of those tags is the p element. So I can just cut this out and have my p elements by typing p in my VS Code and hitting enter. It give me my opening and closing tag. Then I can now put the text in this p tag in between the opening and closing tag. Remember, I save my file again, then I go back, and you should notice the difference once I refresh from this. So I hit refresh, and as you can see, some margin or padding is being given because defaults p elements have this margin in them, when you do not specify any. So this is a basic way of writing a web page. First that we looked at is the title, and we have actually put in something out to the screen. So seeing you in subsequent video, and you should actually try to practice this and install the required software so that you can follow on along with this learning. Thank you.